Behemshech, in continuation to the last voice note, that the Rebbe did not get involved in Piskei Dinim of Rabbonim by a Din Torah, and he left it to the Rabbonim, whatever they paskin, that's how it is. But I do want to mention that the Rebbe was very strong to which Rabbonim you should go when it's a dispute in a Lubavitcher thing. In other words, when a dispute has to do with Inyonim of Lubavitch, not personal business, things like that, but it has to do with Inyonim of Lubavitch, like Lamoshel, when two Shluchim have a dispute, in Shlichus Inyonim, or two Meizdes of Lubavitch have a dispute, or Askonim, activities of Lubavitch, activists of Lubavitch, in Inyonim of Lubavitch have a dispute. The Rebbe was very strong that you have to go to Lubavitch Rabbonim. And I would like to read a few of the zetla that the Rebbe wrote, but this, even though it's known, but I would like to read it. Some of them are printed. And this just shows how strong the Rebbe was. One person once wrote to the Rebbe, there was a dispute in the Yonim of Lubavitch, and he wrote to the Rebbe, he wants to go to Rabbonim outside of Lubavitch. So the Rebbe wrote like this, Ksaviat Kodesh, Avilde Hatzoe Betachlis. It's a wild proposal completely. The word Betachlis is underlined. Wild means it's an outrageous proposal, outrageous idea. This is not a Din Torah concerning business or things like that. They're in Rabbonim, would be fine. But this is not that. It's an inside thing and something that brings tsar of activities of Lubavitch. So then the Rabbonim have to be only from those. Number one, that they will not publicize it at all, the word klal underlined outside. Number two, the Inyonim of Lubavitch have to be precious to them, important to them. And number three, that these are people who are zeicha to be Chassidim of the Rebbe, of the Friedrich Rebbe, the Rebbe writes, who was the one that established this institution that this dispute was about. Then you could hope that they will look into, think about what is fit to the rotz and the will of the Meyasef, the one that established this Mesa. This is the Rebbe. So you have to go only to Lubavitchers. We also have a letter that the Rebbe wrote to Harav Zevin when there was a dispute concerning Kiryat Gat, and at one point they wanted to take the Din Torah to the Badatz of the Edi Achredis. So the Rebbe wrote to Rav Zevin, you probably remember the difference, the dispute concerning Kiryat Gat. And the Rebbe says, now it wants to go to, they want to take it to the Badatz of Edi Achredis. So the Rebbe wrote a letter to the Edi Achredis that it belongs in the Bezdin of Lubavitch. And the Rebbe inserted in the letter to Rav Zevin, the letter that he wrote to them. And the Rebbe writes that that letter doesn't need any extra beer, it's self-understood. And then the Rebbe writes to Harav Zevin that since in that Din Torah that was before, you were the head of the Bezdin, therefore I'm asking you that you should continue, even though it's hard, but you could add other people together with you, like it says in Poskim, and the main thing, it should be Sholem. And then the Rebbe writes, do not take it outside of the Daled Amos of Chabad at all. And the word Yitziyu is in Gershayim, which means in quotation marks. And in the letter that the Rebbe wrote to the Badatz, the Rebbe wrote that this belongs in the Bezdin of Chabad. Then later on, this was in Tov Shemem Dalet, there was a letter also to Kiryat Gat, where the Rebbe writes there these words, Biksav Yad Kedah, she added to the letter. Uki Mefursim, it's famous, known, underline the word Mefursim. When there is a difference of opinion between the institutions and things like that, dash, Kipsak Din Vad Rabboni Anash Shlita. It has to be according to the Psak Din of the Vad Rabboni Anash of Shlita of Eretz Yisrael. He doesn't write the word Eretz Yisrael, but this was in Eretz Yisrael. I imagine it means from Eretz Yisrael. So here we see how it was that when it comes to Inyonim of Lubavitch, a dispute of Lubavitch, the Rebbe wanted it should stay within Lubavitch only by Lubavitch Rabbonim. This is in addition to the famous letter that came out from Askirus and Tovshin Nun Beis, which the Rebbe is the one that asked this letter to be written and signed by Rav Krinsky, but that's on the stationary Maskirus, and the Rebbe asked him to write this letter to Shluchim, that if there is a dispute in Shluchim, they have to go or to Aguch or to Vad Rabboni Lubavitch. And the Rebbe was Magia this letter. But besides that, we have the other letters where the Rebbe writes it should go to Dafke to Lubavitch Rabbonim. But what I do want to mention is a certain interesting thing that happened, and that will be in the next voice note.